So, without further ado, I invite in the general category finalist Nancy Smith and Katie deGorter from Analytic partner, speaking about connecting marketing with business impact through a consumer-focused lens for a highly seasonal brand. Please.
Hi there. My name is Nancy Smith. I'm president of Analytic Partners, and I'm delighted to share this case study on connecting marketing with business impact. I'll take you through a little bit of the background, and then I'll pass it to my colleague Katie, who's a director who led this work, and she'll take you through our approach and the results. Now, Scott's Miracle-Gro is a global multinational company that's multi-billion dollars, and it's really focused on home goods and garden care. And spring is upon us. This is the time of year really where the tulips are coming up, the trees are budding, and it's also the time of year that Scotts really needs to capture that consumer demand, because this is the time of year that consumers are preparing their lawns and gardens for their homes for the next couple of months. And that was a key challenge for us because it's a highly seasonal business and most of their sales occurs in this very short time window. So big seasonal brand. We also needed to understand the customer. But Scotts, another challenge is that they sell through major big box retailers such as Lowe's and the Home Depot. So they don't have a direct view to that customer. So two challenges. One, big seasonal window that we needed to uncover growth and optimization opportunities. And two, no direct view to that customer. Katie will take you through how we overcame this challenge.
So as Nancy mentioned, we didn't have customer-level data, but we still wanted to ensure we were mimicking and taking into account that consumer dynamic as much as possible in the analysis. So we took a full business view and incorporated things like media, social media, price and promotions, external factors like competitive impacts, and of course, weather dynamics. And we looked at how these different components impacted sales and how they worked indirectly and synergistically in impacting the business. So it was a very rich and in-depth analysis. I'm going to take you through just a portion of it where we were able to dig a little bit deeper and get some interesting insight. So first, just to kind of level set, two key learnings. First, we found synergies between online and offline media, which meant both were really important in the marketing mix. Second, we saw that advertising was really working quite well for Scotts in terms of driving incremental revenue and strong ROI. But digital ads, interestingly, were significantly underperforming versus expectations. And we knew this through leveraging our ROI genome, which goes beyond benchmarking to help us understand what drives ROI. Based on all of Scotts' specific business factors, it provides us with an estimated potential ROI for each marketing tactic. And for digital, we were significantly underperforming. You can see there's a lot of opportunity for improvement there. And so we needed to dig deeper. We had some hypotheses that, Scotts being very much influenced by weather conditions, that perhaps weather was also impacting digital ad effectiveness. And we found that this was definitely, in fact, the case. But the dynamics were not so simple. So we had collected a wide range of weather metrics, and we did an in-depth analysis in understanding which ones were most meaningful for this business. And we found that there were three: snowfall, precipitation, and average temperature. But it wasn't just these three metrics independently, rather it was the combination and different weather profiles that were actually most meaningful. So looking at things like really hot and really wet had very different implications than really hot and dry. And what the analysis uncovered was that under each of these different weather profiles, just how much digital ad effectiveness was either helped or hindered. So this is a simplified illustration, kind of gives you a sense, though, in different weather combinations or different weather profiles, what the impact is to digital ad effectiveness. And you can see that in those optimal conditions, we have effectiveness that is either 4 to 10 times higher than those suboptimal conditions. And in fact, looking back in the last year, we looked at, okay, under what conditions were the majority, or were digital ads served, and we found that nearly 50% were actually served under those suboptimal weather conditions for many of their brands. So there was a huge kind of opportunity here to capitalize on. Another kind of interesting finding was just how unique the dynamics were across both markets and across the different product lines. You know, for many of the products, for example, very hot, very wet conditions were detrimental. Because, I mean, who wants to do yard work in the pouring rain? But there were a couple of products that actually benefited under these conditions. These were the products that were focused on bug and weed prevention, and bugs and weeds actually proliferate in these hot and wet conditions. So there were some really kind of interesting dynamics that we were able to take advantage of and look for portfolio optimization as well as optimization across markets. And with all this rich insight, what was most exciting is we were able to actually capitalize on it and take advantage of it in real-time planning to make sure we were optimizing our potential within that really short window. So how we did this, we embedded these decision trees within the programmatic buys. So this is kind of a blinded, simplified example, but essentially at each node, there is specific weather conditions and criteria that's triggering an outcome, whether it's to increase the bid, lower the bid, stop advertising completely, or serve up dynamic creative. And we had these decision trees for each region and each line of business. So we talked about the insight, we talked about the action. What was the outcome? So in total, we estimate this opportunity represents a 30% increase in digital ad ROI for Scott's. So based on their spending, this is millions of dollars in incremental revenue in that really short seasonal time frame. So obviously, we want to thank Scott's Miracle-Gro for their partnership, as well as WeatherSource and Weather Alpha for their weather data, and then our partners, Media Hub and Flash Talking, for making activation possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
Thank you, great presentation. So just looking at this, my mind goes to correlation versus causality. How did you split that? Because, maybe if you first help me understand how you would define effectiveness of the ad, and then second, how you separated the correlation causality part. Because I might say that if the weather is bad, obviously people aren't going to buy the product. So is it because the weather is bad that the ads aren't getting you revenue, or vice versa? So just help me understand that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So I think, the way we approached it in analysis is we measured digital ad performance under these different conditions. So we weren't kind of force-fitting any assumptions. The model was telling us what the effectiveness was. And there were certain controls we had to take into account there, seasonal windows, for example, was done at the market level and for each product line. I think there was a second part of your question, which was
Validation.
How you defined effectiveness? Was it actual sales, or was it an intermediate metric because you don't have window into the full sales cycle?
Yeah, it was the incremental sales driven by those digital ad impressions.
Great presentation, thank you. Just along the lines of ROI, whenever we run these sort of models, we typically notice that the ROI primarily is driven by media savings, where you're a lot more efficient in the way that you distribute media, versus incremental sales attributed to media, because it's rather difficult to influence a consumer to buy or transact on additional products. How was your ROI influence? Was it more on the media efficiency side, or was it a combination of both?
Combination of the both. What we're kind of focusing on here primarily is the impact to the consumer. by getting the ad at the right time and with the right message. So with the dynamic creative really kind of playing into the weather conditions and saying, it's going to rain or it's pouring rain, so you need to wait to stock up, and kind of capitalizing on the dynamics at play to influence their purchase decision.
Thank you very much, Nancy and Katie. Thank you. Big round of applause for them.